to Financial Minds Meet the Experts. I'm your host, Jaime Agostino. In case you're new to listening to our show, this is where we're joined by financial industry experts to talk about topics, trends, and themes that credit union professionals need to know about. Today, we're welcoming Vizo Financial's very own Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Director, Erin Doan. Erin, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jamie.
All right, well, before we get started, in case people have not met you before, would you mind telling our listeners a little bit about yourself for those that may not know?
Yeah, sure. I'm Erin Doan. I kind of born and raised in central Pennsylvania. I have worked for the corporate for just a little over 20 years. So I was with the former Mid-Atlantic corporate and now Vizo Financial. I've worked in a lot of different areas of the organization, starting in member services and then marketing, and then kind of landing in the administration area back in 2008. I have worked in roles kind of supporting our CEO and our board of directors. And then in more recent years, have done a lot more expanding our community involvement programs. And then most recently, our work with diversity, equity, and inclusion, and really embracing this DEI work and seeing, what activities we can engage in and kind of move things along at Vizo Financial.
All right, thank you. So, as you said, we're hearing a lot about DEI over the last few years now. And we know credit unions across the country have truly embraced diversity, equity, inclusion as the eighth cooperative principle. How does Vizo Financial maintain the momentum around these efforts with our employees and our members?
Yeah, thanks, Jamie. The first 12 months was all about getting started with initiatives related to DEI. And now that we've established a few key activities that seem to resonate with our employees, it's all about kind of building that consistent delivery of content and also continuing to give people the opportunities to share more about themselves and their perspectives on a wide range of topics. So, for example, our CEO, David Bramer, is very committed to this work, and he talks frequently about the commitment to DEI with our staff in regular email communications, at our quarterly all staff meetings, and anytime he's talking about our strategic objectives for the future. He's mentioning how DEI is really a part of that. We also publish a diversity calendar each year with an inclusive list of cultural days of recognition. And then we're intentional to recognize those days. So, in a daily email to our staff, and then also in our social media posts, so that our membership and wider communities, are kind of seeing that regular messaging. We put out a monthly newsletter of articles and resources, and we host a monthly 30-minute DEI club meeting over lunchtime, where again, we're inviting our employees to have some more of these conversations and share more of their own stories, with their colleagues. And then another thing that I think will really help boost our momentum later this year is that we're getting ready to implement a new employee intranet. And I think that'll be a really exciting tool that we can use for further engagement. So, even though we've started a few things, it's all about like, how do we keep that momentum going? And we do have a great team of DEI champions. It's a 10-person team that's meeting regularly to think about, what other programming can we do? What activities can we do? So that our staff don't just see this as like, oh, DEI, that was something we focused on and did last year, but it really becomes something that's like weaved into like all aspects of the organization and that we don't lose that momentum that we've generated.
All right. What would you say was the most difficult part of implementing the DEI program here at Vizo Financial?
Yeah, I think the most difficult part of implementing this work has really been helping people understand that DEI is really for everyone, regardless of how you identify. I think on the surface, it doesn't look like our Vizo financial staff is very diverse, But diversity includes so much more than the color of our skin or how old we are or our gender. So we're very intentional to recognize all various aspects of diversity, especially those items that are kind of considered invisible in our programming, and just kind of hitting on that, DEI really is for everyone in the organization.
Absolutely. So we want to represent ourselves as a diverse, equitable, and inclusive organization. But how do we do that without singling out or tokenizing anyone?
Well, that's a good question. I think if we really want to address DEI at our organization, we have to look at all of our policies and practices and put changes in place that position the credit union for change towards a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive place going forward. And I recognize that that change takes time. Um, our efforts to recognize marginalized groups within our programming is really done in a way that brings awareness and learning to everyone. We never want to call out the one Black person in the room or the one member of the LGBTQ plus community to be asked to speak on behalf of all Black or LGBTQ plus people. Our approach has been to create spaces where our Vizo Financial teammates can have open and honest conversations. And sometimes someone from a more marginalized group will share their personal experience or perspective, but we never request that from someone specifically just because we know that, they identify in a certain way.
Now, we've heard from some people that are in a more dominant identity group say that DEI doesn't really pertain to them. What would you say to that?
Well, and I know I kind of touched on this earlier, but I will say it again. DEI is for everyone. and we will frequently reiterate that. We want to hear everyone's stories, whether you're from a more dominant or marginalized identity group. And if you are from a more dominant group, your voice and allyship are valuable in advancing the feelings of inclusion and belonging for everyone at work. And that extends too into our home life, in our families, our neighborhoods, or the larger communities where we're members.
Well, going forward, how can we be intentional to engage then everyone in the DEI work?
To me, I think being intentional means inviting everyone to the table. That open invitation for everyone to participate, and to share, more about themselves at their comfort level, and making it as easy for people to do that, as we can. Some ideas that come to mind are, using an anonymous feedback form where people can ask questions or share comments in an anonymous way. Holding education sessions or discussion groups that intentionally build in some time for attendees to kind of share what they're thinking about or, can talk about experiences that they've had. And then also just asking very specific questions on topics where everyone has an opportunity to weigh in on. Maybe this is some kind of DEI survey or an invitation to participate in a focus group on a certain topic.
All right. What's your advice for credit unions who are looking to get their leadership team, their board of directors on board with making DEI initiatives a priority?
Well, a huge positive is that, DEI is not only the right thing to do, but it's also really good for business. Companies focused on DEI initiatives are more innovative, which leads to faster and more creative results. They have an increased ability to recruit a diverse talent pool, and they have 5.4 times higher employee retention. And we all know how costly employee turnover can be. For DEI initiatives to truly take hold and be transformative in an organization, I believe that it requires the engaged commitment of the board and leadership team. I mean, these are the groups of people who really set the culture, of the credit union. And if they talk and behave like DEI initiatives matter, then this work will really have a lasting impact throughout the organization. And I believe through the communities that the credit unions serve as well. And then, and I mentioned this earlier too, but then DEI just isn't its own initiative. It really is weaved into all aspects of what we do.
For credit unions that haven't done anything with DEI before, where should they start?
Well, I think engaging with the credit union leadership is a great start to, get those people on board with that messaging about this is our commitment to DEI and emphasizing that it's for everyone at the credit union. And then, gather a group of employees to really start working and, talking about initiatives that could be done at your credit union. Some key early actions might include drafting a DEI vision statement to really help focus your efforts. And you can go out on the internet and Google any of these. There are a lot of examples of DEI vision statements from companies and other credit unions. Also, creating that calendar of days for recognition can be a really simple but effective early step to just start with that regular messaging of recognizing this work on a regular basis. And then again, seeking those opportunities to invite employees in for more conversations. Maybe it's a lunch and learn session or some kind of DEI club. It's really all about anything that you think will resonate with your employees or members.
All right, one final question. Who all should be involved with creating DEI initiatives and what should their responsibilities look like?
So I think anyone who wants to be involved should be involved. Again, DEI is for everyone. I think many times this tends to sit within HR or culture areas of the credit union. But I think it's important and really valuable to invite input from people all across the credit union. So if you know that there are people who are interested in promoting this work and thinking of new ideas and building engagement, include them and rely on them to help ideate new solutions and activities, and that will just make your programming that much stronger. And it just I think it just deepens the engagement across the whole credit union.
All right, Erin, thank you so much. Any final thoughts or advice for our listeners?
No, my advice is always just get started. If you haven't done anything yet around this topic, just start somewhere. Or, if you've already done a few things, don't be afraid to try something new. It's not a topic that is very like black and white. There's a lot of creativity in it, and opportunities to be creative and find ways to really engage with your people.
All right. Erin, thank you again. It's always a pleasure to have you join me. And I just want to say today's episode of Financial Minds is brought to you by Vizo Financial's 2023 Leadership Workshop. Vizo Financial is sounding the alarm to credit union leaders across the country. Our 2023 Leadership Workshop is kicking off soon on May 4th in Hershey, PA. And of course, you're invited. During the workshop, you can learn how to increase your institution's value to members by uncovering safe sales opportunities through a non aggressive approach. Instead, our experts will share an effective process built on knowing your members and making the appropriate suggestions for a product or service that will benefit them, and even how to manage employees to increase sales. This workshop will be hosted in additional 3 locations, which include Richmond, Virginia, Charlotte, North Carolina, as well as Pittsburgh, PA. Besides the opportunity to refine those leadership skills, the workshop also offers you the chance to earn up to 6.5 CPE credits. You can learn more by visiting our website at www.vfccu.org. Erin, before I let you go, one more question though. What is it that you love about the credit union industry?
Oh, I love how credit unions serve their communities. I think they really are well positioned to be trusted financial partners. And I think, our base in the cooperative principles just set us up to truly be trusted. And I think we have so much care for our members and communities. And yeah, I love credit unions.
All right, great. Well, as always, thanks for listening and make it a great day.
Thank you.